The Cameroonian security and defense forces intensified their crackdown on pro-independence fighters in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. An alleged separatist general has been gunned down and his body presented to the population in Kumba, Meme Division, southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. We're bringing to you updates in this edition of the news and latest information swimming into our studios from parts of the northwest region of the country indicates that back to school is still very timid. Almost 2 weeks gone into the 2020-2021 academic year. We shall equally be bringing to you updates with our correspondent in Bamenda in this edition of the news. Stay with us. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us in this edition of the news. I am Bablet Jonathan, and we bring into you news from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. We begin right away in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, more precisely in Kumba, Meme Division, where the body of a separatist general was presented to the public today. It is one of the results of the continuous military crackdown on pro-independence fighters in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. For me, Armstrong Sander has more.
According to administrative and security officials in the Meme Division, southwest region of Cameroon, the body of the man presented to the public at the Besek Junction in Kumba is that of Ambazonian General Ayeke, referred to on social media as the king of the forest.
Dans la localité de Bessali, où il s'était réfugié avec un certain nombre de...
According to Lieutenant Colonel Maidouang Desiree, commander of the 6th Military Battalion of the Southwest Region, Ayeke, alias King of the Forest of Lebialem, was killed in an operation at Besali, Wabane Subdivision, Lebialem Division of the Southwest Region. The army commander also says the operation to track Ayeke began some days ago. He continued that the killing of Ayeke also facilitated the release of some 10 persons held captive by the separatist fighter. Ntundong Chamberlain, senior divisional officer for the Meme Division, celebrates the killing and what he calls the professionalism of the army.
Those who continue to fight in the state can never fight the state. The state will remain the state. That is a testimony that our army is a professional one. That our army is there to protect and to secure the population. We continue to highlight it here that the head of state gave the way out to all those fighters for them to surrender and to resume their normal activities. For all those who will continue to be stubborn, let the army do its work. And today, all of us, we are enjoying. We are enjoying because this criminal has completely refused to follow the head of state, and today he is normal. Once more, congratulations to the force for law and order, and also the population be reassured that the forces of law and order will continue to secure them.
It is, however, not certain how many other fighters were killed alongside Ayeke or captured.
For me, Armstrong Sander reporting there. In the meantime, civil society and opposition political leaders have been condemning the military strategy being implemented by the government of the Republic of Cameroon in its efforts to restore peace and normalcy in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. Many think that the continuous crackdown on pro-independence fighters and military officers tracking down and killing the pro-independence fighters is contributing to radicalize many more young people who are joining the secessionist train and further complicating the situation on the ground in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. We'll take a look at this in the second segment of this edition of the news. In the meantime, we talk about back to school 2020-2021 academic year in several parts of the northwest region of the country. The crisis has severely affected academic activities, and some divisions are yet to get into full gear as far as the 2020-2021 academic year is concerned. Mustela reports from Bamenda.
Around and farming, forgetting even that which had been learned before 2016. This has been childhood for children in the conflict-hit areas of Bui and Dongamantung divisions of the Northwest region.
Then strong head. Then when you talk something for picking, one for a year, it was doing on.
Most of our children have died. Others become pregnant premature.
4 years into the crisis, communities have been rendered unstable.
There were a lot of attacks of individual, attacks of school property, of government property, and killing of people. In fact, so the activity was so intense.
Kumbu has been a very, very, very growing town. Since the last 4 years, the crisis has dealt a severe blow on the economy, the social life, the educational system of the town.
Families are now feeling the pinch.
I used to sell things like shoes. There's no way now for me to travel to go and get the things. So I have now focused but only on the farm.
This school bell at the government high school Tala Indu subdivision is rung this October for the first time in 4 years. And for these years, children have missed out on education.
Since the past 4 years, there was no school going on in Kum. Nothing was going on in Kum. They could have counted a number of people here.
For the past 4 years, nothing has actually happened in JHS Tala. So we are very pleased that schools have resumed. When we look at the children, we feel very, very sorry because many of them have gone far backward.
You will agree with us that education is the best medium through which good morals, peace and national values can be cultivated.
The 3rd Rapid Intervention Battalion, as part of the activities, partnered with the populations of Bui and Dongamantung in the clearing of schools. Also, they renovated some school buildings, repainted chalkboards, maintained roads leading to some schools, and provided children in Meluf, Ndu Town, Mbot, Mbi, Kaka, Binka, Tatum and Kambe with benches and didactic materials.
I want to thank the bee and the military people. I did not have all my books, but thank them for giving me these books because now my books will be complete.
First thing I discovered was the blackboards. All of them are painted. And some classes, as school was resuming, we were like, what are we going to do that it is bushy? Now the goats, they were sleeping here. We are so happy and so grateful that everything is intact.
We have accepted the gift they have given to us this afternoon with sincere heart. And we promise that we will do our best. Let children enjoy what they have supplied to us.
The gifts are relief to the beneficiaries, but for teaching and learning to be effective, the teachers must be in class with the pupils and students.
You give, you don't give, at least with the glad, and we be happy. But now we with the glad and say, they don't can shape with them. At least we go and say we teach them.
On the faces of these children and their parents is the joy within, knowing that they can sit in class again.
Stella reporting the soldiers encouraging children to continue with their quest for knowledge despite the unstable security situation in which they are learning. And in Galim, West region of Cameroon, many of the children who escaped violence in the northwest and southwest regions, but more in the northwest region of the country, and are seeking refuge there, are still unable to catch up with their education because of the difficulties they are facing there. Life has been very difficult for their parents since they were kicked out of their homes by violence in the northwest region of the country. Immaculate Fogwe reports.
These internally displaced children residing in Galim in the Bambutos division, west region of Cameroon, after having been forced out of their homes and deprived of education due to the over 3 years armed conflict, are determined to continue with their education. While children across the national territory effectively kickstarted school on the 5th of October 2020, these children living in Bazaar are rather assisting in the construction of their classrooms. The internally displaced parents, their children and the lone school administrator are putting their hands on deck in order to ensure that the teaching and learning process is effective.
The children have not been schooling for several years. So when we arrived here, we told the mayor about our difficulties, and he promised building classrooms for us here in Bazaar. We are still waiting for him to react. Classes have not yet begun. We are trying to clean the area in order to ease the learning and teaching process. I have taken pictures of the site and sent to my hierarchy. I am still expecting them to react.
Added to infrastructural challenges, the population of Bazaar lack potable water, electricity, and health centers.
And the Anglophone crisis has brought several companies to their knees, so to speak, in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, and even in other parts of the country. And one of the companies badly affected by the crisis is the Cameroon Development Corporation, the CDC. Some of the workers of the company took to the streets today protesting in the Tico subdivision against protesting over several months of unpaid salaries. They marched to the DO's office demanding for solutions, demanding for the intervention of the administration so they can have their salaries and be able to send their children to school. Details with Magic and Gabriel.
Some angry workers of the banana sector of the CDC on the streets of Tico. The workers say they have been abandoned by the administration for 3 years running.
They are supposed to us stand without number that they will pay us, they'll pay us. Now it's back to school. Our children are still in the house, but they are going to school. So we need our money. We have not come to fight, make a violence. We just want to see the deal, make peace, make amendment, how they'll give our money. We have been suffering. Landlords are pursuing us from their houses. We don't even have something to eat. So we need, marriages have been broken. A lot of things have happened. Workers have died. They are not paying us. So we have come here to seek for what we can eat and make us our families.
As part of their peaceful protest march, they made a stopover at the CDC head office of Tico, expecting to get some favorable answers to their worries. Unfortunately, no one was on hand to talk to them. From their head office in Tico, the angry workers moved to the divisional officer's premises. Still, the divisional officer was not on seat. After waiting for some time, they returned to their head office. The workers say before their demonstration, authorities were well informed.
This is a joint memorandum we sit and wrote, 26th of August 2020, which the copy has gone to them. We write to the general manager of CDC. Copy the chairman, the board chairman. So the workers have their right to demonstrate because their children have to go to school. That is why they are here. So we want to see the deal, please the representative of the government here, so they can come and address the workers. If anything they let's go and talk there. the staff representative to even address the situation of the workers. For long we have been writing, no avail. So that's why yes, the money I've ever called, give a deaf ear to we, give a deaf ear to the workers. That's why we are worried.
In an off-camera chat with Equinoxe Television, top officials of the Cameroon Development Corporation say they are working on the situation of disgruntled workers, but however stated that most of those who were on the streets were technically unemployed due to the current crisis rocking the southwest and northwest regions.
Chief Ndiki Richard of Mondoni village in the Tiko and Chief David Nayowi of Bonadikombo in the Limbe have won their case against the FACO administration. The case concerned the intervention or meddling of the administration in the selection of traditional rulers in that part of the country. And of course we have details with our correspondent Davidson Maimo.
At the administrative court in Buea, 5 cases, including that of Chief Ndike and Chief David Nanyowe of Mondoni in Tiko subdivision and Bonadikombo in Limbe 1 subdivision respectively, against the administration for meddling with the selection of FACO chiefs representative to the Southwest Regional House of Chiefs. After the hearing, Justice Christopher Offon, one of the 3 sitting magistrates in their judgment, ordered that the names of Chief Ndike and Chief Nanyowe should be reinstated without any condition, replacing that of Chief Otto Molongo of Batoke and Chief Kalaricha of Tiko, saying the in-house selection and election of FACO chief representative must be respected.
For us as lawyers, it is a victory for the rule of law, a victory for the common man.
We'll get a copy of the judgment, notify Equinoxe, and also provide them with the documents of our clients to complete the list as warranted by the law.
According to Chief Ndike Richard, today's victory is a victory to all FACO chiefs.
No anger any of the chiefs. No. We know that some of them were calling me from their houses where they were not interested, and some of them who were even defeated, who were not selected by the peers.
He cautioned that those who are not chiefs should stop meddling with issues of chiefs.
The people where they bring this confusion, that they will vex with them. I would want to make them know say when things concern chief we have to stay out of it. That's how we get some level of privacy.
Saying the victory will unite FACO chiefs them all.
So I think that within us and the administration, the relation will be very cordial and more stronger, because everybody can know its limit, things to do and things not to do. Some of the administrators are our best friends, personal friends, so they cannot be any different.
It was a victory not just for the chiefs, but equally for the gods of FACO, as Nganya, the traditional dance of peace and love, came out to celebrate with the chiefs.
New nautical vessels recently acquired by the Port Authority of Douala are already operational. The dredging vessels were inaugurated and launched today by the Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph Dianguti. The multifunctional nautical vessel, a small support boat and mooring vessel, and of course including training, worth a little above 5,287,000,000 francs CFA, was supplied by a Spanish Industrial Shipyard, and the General Manager of the Douala Port Authority, Cyrus Ngo, and other officials say that the equipments will go a long way to enhance the performance, attractiveness, and competitive capacity of the maritime transport facility. A technical evaluation shows that dredging for the next 15 years with the equipments acquired by the Port Authority of Douala will cost 76 billion francs CFA, contrary to 179.68 billion francs CFA spent in the past 15 years. And during that past 15 years, the dredging activities were carried out by foreign companies. Now coming up, take a listen to Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Dianguti and the board chair of the Douala Port Authority, Shea Jones Yembe.
I've seen for myself the usefulness of the equipment that the port has acquired, the dredger amongst others. it's going to help to propel the Douala port into a real center of activity in West Africa and in Central Africa. I think the port of Douala is modernizing itself with all the reforms in terms of security, in terms of logistics, in terms of transport, and it's been very interesting to see, and I'm going to report very positively to the President of the Republic that his reforms are being carried out here in Douala in the port.
What we are living today is the will of the head of state, President Paul Biya, who has a vision and has a vision about Cameroon emerging in 2035. And this vision has been translated by government policy, which says that there should be, through its paper for strategic growth and employment. And what we are living today is an example of strategic growth through development of the infrastructure. We are happy to have Cameroonians that can do things. Government policy to the management, and we are very proud and fortunate to have a management that can translate this policy into reality. And I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Mr. Cyrus Ngo and his team, which I've always called the Incredibles. Incredible because it's rare to find Cameroonians that can do things for themselves.
I've seen for myself.
It is rare to find Cameroonians who can do things for themselves. Those are the last words of Shea Jones Yembe, board chair of the Port Authority of Douala. And of course, before him, you heard the Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph Jangude, talking about the importance of the acquisition of the new nautical equipments that will facilitate activities as far as dredging is concerned in the Douala Seaport. Coming up next, Talking Point. Thank you for staying with us in Talking Points. Our guest today is Barrister Nkamwa Limen. He is the head of the Nkamwa Limen law firm here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. Barrister, thank you for joining us today.
Welcome, Mr. Babila. It's always a pleasure.
All right, you saw the images of pro-independence fighter, or better still, general, being presented to the public in the Kumba, in the Meme division, southwest region of the country, after he was killed by security and defense forces. What do you think about those images?
Well, it is the purpose, I think, is dissuasive, to dissuade those who are perpetrating killings to know that they can face death. But you see, it is not equally a good image, because he could be captured. You only kill a fighter when there's no means to capture him. And the law provides, the international humanitarian law, which I keep talking to these countries, it provides that you can neutralize somebody without killing. So that's what I can share about that.
That is the latest fallout or result of the continuous military crackdown on pro-independence fighters within the framework of government's efforts to restore normalcy in the two Anglophone regions of the country. The continuous crackdown, is it helping matters?
Mr. Babila, you know, the government, to me, is not going to, those are window dressing measures. To me, the government ought to identify the root causes of the Anglophone problem and redress them. Because going to fight, going to kill or capture those people doesn't resolve the Anglophone issue. So I think that government, in one hand, the military should be trying to curb the situation as they're doing, but that government equally should take necessary appropriate measures to sort out, to eradicate the root cause of the Anglophone grievances.
The President of the Republic called on the civilians who are carrying guns in the bushes to drop their guns and come out of the bushes and be received in the DDR centers and be reintegrated into normal life without any charges against them, without being killed. And he said that those who will continue on the wrong path, those who will not drop their guns, will have to face military might. And this is what is happening. Isn't it time for the call of the President of the Republic to be listened to?
Well, Mr. Babila agreed that we need peace and that we condemn killings of Anglophones by maybe the military or Ambazonian fighters. But as I said, it is a laudable initiative to preach peace and to ask them to drop arms and come back to right senses. But it's equally very important for the government to know, for Mr. Biya to know that there are reasons why these people picked up arms. It's not a good thing to pick up arms against your country, but it has happened, and the right thing, the sensible thing to do is to look at the root cause and try to sort them out, as I earlier said.
When we see such images being displayed of separatist fighters killed and being presented like this in public, what could be the impact on the mindset of the people who see those images, the people who see, and their behavior and their reactions, and the impact on the situation on the ground?
Yes, as I said earlier, Mr. Babila, the purpose for such a public display might be to dissuade other persons, or to reinstill confidence in the population that the military is doing something. But as I said, if you go by the law, it is wrong. Even at your death, you still have some rights as a human being. And as I said before, the international humanitarian law prohibits killing of a warring factor or a soldier in war. So my view is that if the military can neutralize a combatant, they should better neutralize them and maybe try to reshape them, because to me the society has failed to push those people to pick up arms.
The security and defense forces say they want to restore peace and normalcy, and that is why they are going against these people. But is it really restoring peace and normalcy, or it's contributing to radicalize the people now?
Mr. Babila, you cannot restore peace if the reason why the people actually pick up arms has not been redressed. While the military are doing their work, right, to bring peace, the government should do a follow-up to see that as they are going ahead in maybe bringing that peace, government effort strategies to are put in place to resolve the Anglophone crisis, we all think that it has dragged for a very long time.
And there is a general outcry over the decision of the United States of America to repatriate some Cameroonians who in the U.S. who are seeking asylum in the U.S. And after analyzing the information that they're giving the United States State Department, they will be repatriated. This is the decision. This has nothing to do with the crisis, but it's just about illegality and issues like that.
Well, Mr. Babila, I will not want to talk about illegality in that act, because we have international criminal law, which is to the essence that a state that is victim to attacks or terrorist propaganda could actually arrest for its citizens in another country. You see, so it is legally it's a due process, but the law equally makes it clear that if the punishment is death, as is evident by the crimes they purported to have committed, then the host country must not send them, because if the penalty is death, as I said, it is not in conformity with international laws for them to be repatriated. But the act of demanding their repatriation for acts which they have committed in Cameroon seems to be in line with international law, international criminal law.
This is more about people who travel to the U.S. and then began to seek for asylum and so on. Of course, raising issues of insecurity in the country, threats to their lives and things like that. And now the United States want to send them back home.
No, it is not fair. It is not fair for the U.S. to deport or to send those who came to seek political asylum, because it is very dangerous for them. It is dangerous. Their future is already known. When they come here, they will go to prison, and then some of them will be severely punished. So I don't think it's a good decision. And luckily enough, it's a civilized world that I think lawyers can bring an appeal to change whatever decision if it has been taken judicially.
All right. Now let's talk about some militants of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement CRM political party who are complaining about poor detention conditions in the Central Police Station number 1 in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. Some of the militants of the CRM who were arrested on the 22nd of September 2020 during the protests, and some who were arrested before and after are being detained, and now there are complaints of poor detention conditions. You are a lawyer and you have been observing happenings within detention centers. You have been defending people who have been detained here and there. What's your take on the detention conditions in Cameroon?
Well, Mr. Babila, the truth is that it is deplorable. It is more or less a concentration camp, because the Criminal Procedure Code actually emphasizes or makes provisions for the respect of human rights even when somebody is in custody. And now, what are those rights? The right to good food, a conducive place to stay, right to receive your family members and discuss with them, right to meet their counsel. But when you go to our cells, it's like they have no respect for human life. The cells are extremely dirty, stinky, no toilet facilities, no medical facility. Indeed, the cells are a reflection of our country. It shows how at what level Cameroon has been reduced to. Because somebody who goes to cell, somebody who is in cell, is still a suspect. That you should know. So if they are in the cell in Yaoundé, they are still suspects. They have not been brought. They are not accused persons. They are suspects that will normally undergo investigations. So when they start complaining of poor treatment, it is bad. Another thing is staying from when the march took place till today. If they are still in the police custody, I think it is lengthy for a period to keep them, except the State Council decided otherwise.
And there's some who are under house arrest. What is qualified as house arrest? You said the other time that it is a term that is strange to the legal.
To our criminal procedure code, we don't have house arrest.
In Cameroon, there are some who are under what you qualify as forced imprisonment.
Yes.
And Professor Maurice Kamto is one of them. And now there's international pressure mounting on Cameroon to liberate him, with the UN coming in and all of that. What do you think about the continuous detention or the continuous prevention of this political leader from coming out of his house?
You know, Mr. Babila, it's not only Maurice Kamto alone, it's any other Cameroonian who came out that day to express their mind, their political mind. They were arrested and treated same. Mr. Babila, you see, the issue is, I think there is a very serious problem with our country. Our government needs to redefine its policies and its objectives. The role of the government should know that they are into a social contract with the citizens. That is, we surrender some of our liberty in exchange of security that the government gives. But at no moment the government should think that they can clamp on rights and think it is legal. It is not. So, Mr. Babila, from the day if the government comes to the bitter truth that they are there to serve the Cameroonian people, they will know that what they are doing is wrong. And to me, I don't know what he actually did as an offense that merits him to be locked in his house, to be imprisoned in his house. I think we forget to know that Cameroon is just a country in the international scene, and that at international level, some sanctions can really affect Cameroon.
He should be released.
Of course, he should be. He should be. That's the most sensible thing to do. He should be released. And you see, Mr. Babila, there is a problem with. I believe that our major problem is the choice of our ministers. I think the Ministry of Territorial Administration ought to be somebody who is more diplomatic, somebody who has done conflict management, because in every society there are bound to be conflict. And when there are conflicts, there are ways of resolving this conflict without creating other problems. But you see for some time that each time there is a problem in Cameroon, it will appear they take foil, right, to pour on fire. So I think the choice of ministers, the ministers should comport themselves in a way that they should agree that in every society there are bound to be conflicts, and should take the right steps in resolving those conflicts than aggravating them.
Do you think that the Minister of Territorial Administration is aggravating conflicts?
Yes, by his attitude, I think, honestly, without fear or favor, I think he is. Because he should be more diplomatic. He should understand that we are dragging about the march today because Kamto is under arrest. forced imprisonment, beg your pardon. If he didn't do that, nobody would be talking about that. And you see, each time he comes out, it's like warning, tell people not to do this. No, he's serving Cameroonians. He's there to serve us. And so if you have to serve us, respect us. And if you respect us, you then canalize your energy in doing the right things for the population.
All right, Barrister Kamwa Limen, head of the Kamwa Limen law firm in Douala, thank you for joining us today.
It's always a pleasure, Mr. Babi.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today.